Good evening. Today I'm talking to Eileen Wharton, who lives in Durham and has written a blood crime series, and her newest book is out today. Good afternoon, Eileen. Would you like to tell us a little bit more about yourself and your journey to becoming a writer?
I have 5 children. I've given birth to 5 children, and I have 2 stepchildren. And 3 grandchildren, and I teach part-time and I write part-time, and I write crime fiction, women's fiction, humour and children's books. I've finished, how long ago? A few months ago I finished a master's in creative writing at Northumbria University. I've been going to do it for years and just never got around to it, but finally done it, finished that. And I'm writing a psychological thriller at the minute, as well as various children's books. And today, Blood's Thicker is out. It's the sequel to Blanket of Blood.
And what was your journey to becoming a writer?
I've lost you there, Donna. Let me see if I can get you back. I don't know what happened. Oh dear, can't see you anymore. I'm not quite sure why. Computer's doing something strange. I've always written for as long as I can remember. I loved writing as a kid, writing stories. And I used to make little notebooks using paper, and I used to hold them together with pins or staples and hand them out to people. And I used to make my own characters up, or used to steal characters from other writers. And when I was married, I used to write in secret. I bought a typewriter and I used to hide it in the kitchen cupboard, and I used to write really bad, terrible poetry in secret. And then I started writing seriously about 20 years ago, 21 years ago. And I wrote the first chapter of a novel. And then there was a competition in our local town, but it was a national competition. And what you had to do was to write the first chapter and the last paragraph of a novel. So I did that, entered the competition, and I got highly commended. And the entries were put into a book and sent to a top London publisher. And the London publisher picked mine as one of the entries that it loved. But by the time I got round to finishing the book, that the person who loved it had moved on, and I couldn't find it, so it ended up being published by somebody else. And I was initially published by the fabulous Biker Books. And my first novel, Shit Happens, was published by them. And I won a Northern New Writers Award in 2002. And that kind of spurred me on, and that made me think, oh, I can do this. I might have some talent. I can do this. And it sort of went from there. Sorry, I've lost you on the screen. Not sure why.
Your 2 blood crime series seem to be quite dark and feature some topics others would steer clear from. Is there any subject that's a no-go for you?
I don't think so, because I think personally I like to read things, the darker the better. And I've been told off by many friends for hurting the dog. There's a lot of friends have said, yes, I don't mind you killing people, but leave the dog alone. So something nasty happens to a dog in Blanket of Blood and people were not happy with that. I think what it is, I like to explore the worst things that can happen. So things like children being hurt, children disappearing, children being abducted. To me, it's the worst thing that can happen. And I think if I explore it through fiction, it's almost like it won't happen in real life. But we know it does happen in real life to people. But I think it's one of those things where I'm exploring my own nightmares, possibly. So I think basically anything, I don't think there's anything I wouldn't write about. I can't think of anything.
Yeah.
I can't do sex scenes though. I've tried to write sex scenes and they just don't work. They're just total porn. Or I read them and I think it's just awful, just bad, just ridiculous. So some people do them really well, and I like to read them, but I can't write them. Mine are full of things that shouldn't be repeated and mixed. I write them, but they don't go in the book.
Yeah, that sounds like a good way to do it. Apart from writing sex scenes, what else do you find difficult about writing?
Well, having a day job as well is difficult because obviously you've got to devote time to that and time to your family, and trying to find time to fit everything in is difficult. I do make time for writing now, so I will do it when I maybe would have been going out on the town once over, or I can't go on the town anymore, so I've got no excuse really for not writing. But I'm more productive on a morning, so if I get up early and write, either before work or on my days when I'm not at my day job, I'm better off writing early. If I don't get up and write straight away, I tend not to write. I find tools of procrastination, or I find people to talk to, or places to go. So I've got to do it first thing in the morning. I'm not a night writer, and I can't write I can't write with a drink. So some people like a glass of wine, and I can't. If I have a glass of wine, I'm having a glass of wine, and I can't.
Yeah.
So I'll have a cup of coffee, maybe a sandwich, and then I'll get going. I don't have routines, like people sharpen pencils and sort of have routines. I just sort of drag myself out of bed, wash my face, stick my dressing gown on, and sit at the computer. A bit like Waynetta Slob with the pink dressing gown with the egg stain on the lapel. Totally unglamorous and
totally ruining all of our images of being an author now.
Yeah, we just swan around holding quill pens, wearing scarves.
Yeah.
And drinking
typewriters.
Champagne makes me burp too, so I'm just going to apologise in advance.
No worries. So that's what you don't like. So what do you like about writing? Why do you love being a writer?
Oh, I love being able to kill people I don't like and get away with it. I like being able to tell lies and not get wrong for it. I like being able to play God and create a whole world. I like, generally the way it happens to me is that I hear a voice. So the character speaks to me and I have to write it down. That's usually the way it happens. That's usually the way I'm inspired. So I hear a voice in my head, and from that character comes the story. So I love that. I love that part of it. I love beginnings. I love starting a new. I've got loads of unfinished projects because I hate finishing, but I love starting new things. And I love writing children's books. Picture books I've got a real passion for. Love children's picture books. And one of the nicest moments as a published author was somebody sending me a video of them reading a bedtime story to their child of my book, The Schmoogly Boo. It was so touching because I hadn't even thought about that aspect. I thought about people going to bookshops, and I've done author events in schools, which was absolutely lovely. I'd never thought about somebody reading my book as a bedtime story to their child or grandchild. And it's such an intimate moment and such a special moment. And to be part of that, I found it deeply moving. It was one of the nicest moments so far of my writing career.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, it was lovely.
What does your writing space look like? I'm guessing exactly what we see.
Yes, this is it. This is my writing room. For a long time, I used to write on the side of the swimming pool. I've got 5 children. And growing up, my youngest 4, I had 4 children under 5 at one point. So they're very close together. So we used to go swimming. I would go in for a swim for half an hour maybe, get out early, and they would entertain themselves in the pool. And I would sit on the pool and write. And that's where Shit Happens mainly occurred. But at that point, I was writing everywhere, sort of everywhere I could catch a moment, in the bath and on the side of the swimming pool. Yeah, so I now have this lovely space. My fiance built it for me, made me the desk and put the bookshelves up and rewired it and put the lovely floor down. And so I absolutely love it. It feels to me like a place I can come away from it all, and I get peace and quiet relatively. And it is just a lovely space. I have a bed in it because in case one of the kids wants to come and stay. But I get creative when I come in here because that is what the space is for. I find it really, really helps. So it's better than right beside a swimming pool.
Yeah, I bet.
Okay, so
which of your books have you enjoyed writing most?
That's hard. That's like asking if I've got a favourite child.
No, that's why I ask it.
They all and all of mine will say that they're the favourite. So I'm not. I think whichever one I'm writing at the time seems to be the favourite, but then I go through phases. So I'll read it one day and I think, oh, this is really good. I like this. This is going to be an international bestseller. This is going to make me. And then I'll read it the next day and think, this is utter dross. What are you doing? Thinking you can be a writer? It's absolute rubbish. Put it in the bin. So it varies, and I'm writing a psychological thriller at the minute called Daddy Longlegs. And I'm really enjoying that at the minute. I really like the characters. To be fair, the one that I enjoyed writing the least was the one that's come out today, Blood's Thicker. And that's because it's a sequel and I found it really, really hard to make sure I got this detail right, that detail right. I hated doing all that because for me, I'm not a good planner. I don't have notebooks full of this character's hair's brown and this one's eye, which I should. I know I should, and people do, and good writers do, but I don't work like that. And so I found that really difficult. I'm trying to work like that now because
that's it. We're back.
Oh, it says my internet connection is unstable, a bit like me.
Would you consider writing with another author? When I asked Kerry this question, she said she'd like to write with you, just to give you a heads up.
Well, actually, before you even said that, I was going to say if it would be anyone, it would be one of my friends like Kerry K. Richardson. Because if it wasn't for Kerry, I probably wouldn't write. She's so good at mothering me. She's my responsible adult. She makes me do things. She looks after me. And she makes me behave myself sometimes. So yes, Kerry, I would probably write with Kerry, and probably some of my other northern friends like Nikki Black and LJ Ross. And Louise is like so successful, so I could ride on her coattails if she's listening. No, but it would probably be somebody northern who knows the crack and who I get on well with. And I am writing a sitcom with somebody, with my fiance actually.
Oh,
so
wow.
we're writing a sitcom together. It's called Shaz and Dave. Yeah, the first episode's called Rabbit, and it has a little toy in there just to warn you. It is. It's not PG. X-rated. No, it's I'm really enjoying that. That's just good fun. So we're writing it together, bounce ideas off each other, read it together, laugh, go back and change things. And yeah, so we've got a whole series planned out, and the first sort of episode and a half written. So I need to make time once I finish Daddy Longlegs, make time for that. I have an exciting project in the new year. I'm going to be working on some children's books with author Amy Sparkles. It was sort of a competition that I entered to be mentored by her.
Oh, wow.
So that's really exciting. I'm really looking forward to that.
Oh, wow. So lots to look forward to.
Like a children's crime series at some point, because I think that, yeah, as a child, I loved reading children's crime. I always liked mysteries. So I think that's what I would like to do that. I was kind of one of these jack of all trades people. I do a lot. My theory is I throw enough shit at the wall and something's going to stick.
What's the most interesting thing you've learned so far when researching for your books?
Oh, there have been some fascinating things. I don't know whether it'll give it away. A Blanket of Blood, I had to do a lot of research, scientific research for Blanket of Blood, because the kill methods particularly, I think it's unique. But I might be wrong, but I don't know if anybody's done that before. I've never read it or seen it on any other crime novel. So I had to do a lot of research for that, and it was fascinating, but it was also awful, abhorrent. And obviously, when you're talking about murder and dead bodies and things, I've had to do a lot of research about sort of decomposition and all that kind of thing. And sometimes I get nightmares, so I have very, very vivid dreams, and quite often they're about some of the things I'm researching, so that's not good. But fascinating, yeah, like really, really fascinating.
Yeah, I'm doing a degree in forensic science, so I could tell you all about decomposition and all of that stuff. Yeah, I know how it goes.
Sometimes that comes at a moment that you really don't want it, doesn't it? So sometimes I think, oh, I wish I didn't know that.
Yeah,
yeah, it's very macabre, but it is. I've always been fascinated by the macabre, I think.
Yeah, well, I want to go to the body farm, which you can't get much more macabre than that, can you?
I watched videos and did a lot on the body farm when I was doing Blanket of Blood, because I needed to know about the rates of decomposition and the different insects that would be on a body at a certain time and that kind of thing. But the method that the killer uses to kill and preserve the bodies is a bit different, so I had to do quite a bit of research. The science teachers at school helped me with that, and I did a lot online and went to exhibitions and things. So yeah, it was fascinating.
What authors inspired
search history? I just don't even think about if somebody looks at my Google account what they all think, because if the police ever got hold of it, I'll be in trouble. Be locked up.
Yeah, I dread to think. It's bad enough being a student, actually, some of the stuff we research. So yeah, I dread to think what yours would look like. What authors inspire you?
Well, my friends who I mentioned, like Nikki Black and Kay Richardson and L.J. Ross. I was very much inspired by Pat Barker. She's from Durham, a northern writer who's extremely worldwide successful. I loved some of her earlier novels where she wrote about common people, real people, people on council estates. Because when I was growing up, there weren't really books about people like me. So I come from a working class background, live on a council estate, still live on a council estate. And the books I read were all about people going to boarding school and people from upper middle class backgrounds, and then I read Pat Barker, and she was the first writer who made me believe, I could do this, I could write about sort of my background, the places I come from. And then I read some of her later. Well, I read everything, all of her novels, and I just think she's a superb writer. So she's inspired me. But family members, like my brother, my eldest brother, wrote stories when I was little, and he was always very creative, very inventive. And I just thought he was fantastic. His stories are just brilliant. He's never done anything with them. He's never gone on and tried to be published or anything, which I think is a shame, because he's brilliant. He's a brilliant man. And my dad and my mum and dad always inspired in us a love of literature. We used to go to the library every week and choose books, and I love that. I love everything about the library, the tickets and the stamp and the smell of the books and the being surrounded by books and being there with my dad and my brothers and sisters. I just loved it. I always wanted to be a librarian, as well as a writer and actress and various things. But yeah, so my parents definitely inspired me, my family, and I get a lot of material from my kids because there's some drama every week. So I always think it's all material.
Yeah. And it must from
I
the
really
kids you teach as well.
Yeah. Yeah, they're fab. They're fab.
What age do you teach?
Yeah, that's my... Sorry?
What
What
age do you
age?
teach? Yeah.
Yeah, 11 to 16.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So I've taught English for years, secondary school, yeah. So I've taught English for years, but I'm teaching PSHE at the minute. So personal social health education, which I'm absolutely loving. I'm really enjoying that. We've got some fantastic discussions, and the kids are so switched on, and they're so clever, and just the ideas that they have. They're inspiring. The kids that I teach, they're amazing.
Yeah. They get a hard time, don't they? But actually, they don't always deserve it. The teenagers.
A lot of the time, the things you hear about teenagers are just not true. But most of the majority of the teenagers I meet are just fantastic young people, and they really do get a bad press. And they're just not like that. Most of them are very well mannered, very polite, very bright, very caring. Like, they really care about each other. They're very socially aware. They don't discriminate. Honestly, they're just fantastic people. I love spending time with them. They're great.
Do you get much chance to read?
I try to read every day, but at the minute I've been reading my own stuff, which gets so boring after a while when you're editing and you have to read and reread and reread. And so I'm absolutely sick of my own stuff. But I've read quite a few books this year that I really enjoyed. I've just started Sharon Burden's new one. The title's just escaped me, but that was gripping right from the start. I've just read Kerry's again, I've Been Watching You, which I love. I've just read The Imposter, L.J. Ross. I've got like Northern friends who I enjoy reading, like Howard Linsky, and I've got quite a lot of friends who are crime writers, and I enjoy reading their books. I love Ian Rankin. I think Ian Rankin's fabulous. A fabulous man and a fabulous writer. He's lovely.
Yeah, I think I've only read one of his books, but I do plan to read more eventually. It's fine.
Read all of the Rebus ones. He's amazing. He's so clever. He's so good. He's such a nice man as well.
Yeah. My to be read list is insane, so it could be a while.
What are you reading at the minute?
I'm reading. I spoke to a lady yesterday called Jane Gooding, and she's written a book about a fictional book based on her real life in the police in the 70s and 80s. So I started reading that this morning. And she was very funny, and the book is funny as well. So yeah,
I
I'm
like
enjoying
funny.
it.
I like funny. Well,
Yeah,
maybe tell your mum to read The M Word, my book, The M Word. That's my menopause novel. Your mum might enjoy it.
if she's terrible. She doesn't sit down for 5 minutes. So I try and get her to read. I keep buying her books, but she likes
Get the audio
DIY.
book. It's on audio. Get the audio book. Mind you,
Yeah.
it's a southern woman reading with a northern accent, which I'm not happy about. I wish I'd read it myself. Oh, Mel Sharratt as well. She's another one. She's fabulous.
Yeah,
She's
I think
lovely.
I've read most of hers. Yeah.
She's really nice. Who else? People like Maggie James and
I love Maggie. Yeah, she's great.
the nice people as well. I like to read nice people's books.
What's the funniest thing that's ever happened to you?
The funniest?
Yeah.
Oh, so many to choose from. Oh, so many. Well, you might see a picture of me and Ian Rankin face to face, sort of almost as though we're kissing. And I must confess that he chased me around Harrogate Crime Writers Festival, stalked me all day, looking for my autograph, wanting a piece of me, but you know, what can I say? I had a very embarrassing moment once. I was at some convention, and there were a lot of very young, very hot men at this convention. And I was driving along and I felt my car wheel, there was something wrong. I thought I had a flat tire or something. So I got out to look around the car, and I walking around the car, and then these bevy of hot men were coming towards me. So I thought, act cool, act cool. So I'd been kicking the car wheels and thinking, right, act cool, act cool. So I just kind of leaned against the car, but the window was open and I fell in. So that was a bit of a Del Boy moment.
Yeah. Well, that's exactly the sort of thing I would do as well.
Yeah, I've never quite got over the shame of that. I'm just pleased that social media wasn't around then, so
Yeah.
I'm not on TikTok somewhere doing it. I'm probably on TikTok somewhere doing something else, but
Yeah. Do your kids read your books?
yes, they do. Not all of them. I've read all of them, but yeah, they do. And at my last book launch, which was The M Word, I think The M Word, somebody asked me a question from the audience. If you wrote a book that was the story of your life, what would you call it? And my son piped up Shit Happens, which is the title of my first book. So it's not autobiographical, although some parts might be. I'm not going to say which parts.
No. Yeah, leave people to guess. If you were to invite 4 famous people to a dinner party, who would you invite?
Oh, famous people. Famous people. Depends what kind of dinner party I wanted. Because if I wanted some kind of sexy debauched dinner party, I would invite certain people. If I wanted intellectual conversation, I would invite other people. Do they have to be alive or can they be dead?
It's your dinner party. You can have whoever you want. Or you can give us the 2 options as well, because I'm intrigued now.
Oh dear, I should have given this one some thought. Sexy debauched. I'd have Idris Elba.
Mm-hmm.
Who else? Peter Kay. Quite fancy Peter Kay. Simon Cowell. Got a bit of a fancy for Simon. How many am I allowed?
4. So you got 1 more.
One more. Who would I have? I can't think of anybody else I fancy except my fella. It'd be a bit weird him being there with Idris. I would have to pick my fiance, I suppose. Or maybe I could have maybe a Jennifer Aniston. She's quite hot. Maybe her. No, because then Idris would fancy her. No, I'm not having it. But intellectual. If I was having an intellectual, or maybe a crimey type dinner party, I'd have Ian Rankin. He could maybe be my sexy debauched one too. I don't know. I'm only kidding. Ian Rankin. Who else? Crimey. I'd have to have Kerry because she would kill me if I didn't invite her.
She invited you, so you're.
Hey, did you invite me?
Yeah.
Oh, Kerry.
I think you were the first name, so you might be in trouble when she watches this.
Well, Howard Linsky, I would invite because he's really funny. Howard's really funny. Oh, there's too many. I can't stick with 4. I've got a lot. Got a lot of crimey people who I'd invite. Oh, Linda LaPlante. I would have Linda LaPlante because not only is she a fabulous writer, she's absolutely hilarious. Mind you, she would steal my limelight. She'd be funnier than me, and I'm not sure I could handle it. But Linda's amazing. I saw her at Harrogate on a panel, and she was just superb. She took the whole place. She had the audience in the palm of her hand. She was just phenomenal. She was fabulous.
Oh.
So, yeah, there's quite a lot of people, crimey people who I would invite. I don't think I could narrow it down to 4. I'm too greedy.
Well, I mean, it's your dinner party, so, if you want to invite more, then go for it.
I'm trying to think of someone who would buy me drinks, bring nice champagne, invite them. Someone who bring good presents. Oh, Louise is very kind. She always gives nice presents. LJ Ross. And Nikki, I couldn't invite Louise without Nikki. So I'd have to invite her. I'm looking forward to this dinner party. Can you just check when Idris is available?
Yeah, no problem. When he is, I'm coming. It's like 4 hours drive for me to Durham, but I'm there.
I'd walk on my hands and knees.
Yeah. I know, I don't know what it is about him, but yeah, totally with you there. Do you get much feedback from your readers?
Oh yeah, I get some lovely feedback. People generally write and say really nice things, which is nice. Because I've got some friends who are probably more successful than I am who get some awful messages and have awful experiences, but generally I have to say people have been very kind. I've had a couple of dodgy reviews. One man gave me 1 star for Shit Happens, and he gave a commode 5 stars. I thought that was hilarious. He gave his commode 5 stars and my book Shit Happens 1 star.
Ugh. People are weird.
But yeah, people are entitled to their opinion. It's good. It's all good. It's nice that people take the time to leave a review. Just don't leave 1 stars.
No. Yeah, I won't ever understand. Just don't bother. But I suppose if people feel that strongly. Yeah. I don't know. So you're working on your psychological thriller, and then what do you plan to do after that, apart from your screenplay?
I'm actually writing a biography, but that's quite secret, so I can't really talk about that. So I'm writing a biography. I'm about 60,000 words in, 50,000 words into that. So there'll be a lot of editing involved there, fact checking and all that kind of thing. So I'm going to finish Daddy Longlegs, the psychological thriller. I'm going to try for an agent. I'm going to try and pitch that to agents. I have sent it out already to a couple of people. So I'm hoping to attract an agent with that one. I've had a few agents interested in the past. I kind of seem to fall at the final hurdle. I think it's when they meet me in person. Realise it's okay. No, I'm only kidding. It's when they realise what the bar bill is. No, so I am hoping to get an agent, and I'm very much looking forward to working on the children's books with Amy Sparkles in January 2021. So she's going to be a fabulous mentor, I hope. I'm looking forward to that. And then I'm going to write the sitcom. I'm going to finish the sitcom because I enjoy that. It's just really good fun, and I want to do something. Oh, I have started the sequel to The M Word. The M Word was my menopause novel, but it became a sort of a little bit of a mystery as well, and people have said it was a comedy. So the sequel is called The D Word. So that I quite enjoyed writing bits about that. What I tend to do is I dip into things. So if I get sick of something, because I'm quite fickle, if I get sick of something, I'll start on something else. So so as I don't get bored with the writing. But then there comes a point where you've got to actually just stick in and finish something and do it and edit it and all of that kind of stuff. But I do eventually get down to the nitty gritty. But I do like starting new projects. It's so exciting.
And I don't think. What's that?
It's a bit like a new love affair.
Oh,
when you start something new and it's all like hot stolen moments and kisses and sex against the wall and that kind of thing. Yeah.
I wouldn't know.
Whereas when you get to the end of a project, it's a bit like a 20-year marriage where you just slippers and pipe and slow, and it's a bit of a hard work. And so I'm all for the hot new affair.
Sounds good to me. Are you going to do any more in your series after the one that's released today? Are you carrying that on?
I have another one partially written, and I think it might be a novella. So Blanket of Blood was about 110,000 words. Blood Stickers only about 60,000. And I think the next one might just be about 40,000. I think it might be a novella. That might change. I don't know. It depends where it goes. It depends where the characters take me, because they do just kind of take off and misbehave and do their own thing, like me. But I'm not sure where that one is going, but I will finish it at some point. I swore I wasn't going to finish it, but I will. Kerry will make me.
Yeah, I think I might have to step in as well and tell you to finish some of these projects. I could nag.
That's fine. That's fine. I need that discipline.
Yeah, I know. You can nag me in return to do my uni stuff. It could work both ways. And I think that's all the questions I have for you. Unless there's anything else you want to tell us about.
I think we've covered everything. I think we've done everything, all of the new stuff, all of the old stuff. I don't think there's anything else. That was fun. I enjoyed that. I thought it was going to be a bit stressy, but it was good.
Yeah, see, I always tell people it's fine.
Absolutely fine.
Before we go, do you just want to tell people where they can find out more about you and your books?
Well, my phone number's in the pub toilet down the road. So if you want to... I am on Facebook. I'm on Twitter @Wharton Eileen. And I do have a website, but it's not very up to date. That'll be something that I'll be looking at in the future. I'm on Amazon. I have an author page. I have an author page on Goodreads. I'm pretty much, if anyone wants to get in touch and private message me, ask me about the books, I'm fine with that. That's all good.
Awesome. Thank you.